What's happening, everybody? It's the Pirate Stacker coming at you. A little hoarse, but I can't drink anything today because I got some blood work coming up here in an hour. And they're like, don't eat, don't drink. So here I am, struggling, suffering. It's Friday. Yes, Friday, fun day Friday. Welcome to the Pirates Podcast. Sorry I'm a little bit late today. Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock. This is where I am. Today we are talking about something near and dear to me in my heart, and that is conspiracy theories. Yes. Good morning, Transient Stacker. Good to see you. JK Pioneer is in the house. Good to see you as well, my friend. With all my stacker buddies showing up, I got to take a look here because gold and silver are on the move. And gold in particular, I saw earlier today, my pal Numismatic Stacker was like, gold just reached an all-time high. All-time high. Where was it at? Silver's at 32.14, which is great. I mean, it's not great if you're trying to buy some. But let's see what gold is at right now. $3,234 an ounce. But it did get up to $32.42 an ounce earlier today, not that long ago. Gold is soaring, and I am not surprised. I think gold is going to keep doing what gold does. I think it goes up. It is the greatest store of wealth there is. Good morning, Johnny B. Hello, Gregory Martinez. 7 Stacks is in the house. Arghhhhh, good to see you guys. Fantastic. So gold's crazy. Gold is bonkers. I did predict $3,500 gold by the end of the year. It may not even take us that long. I wouldn't even be surprised. Natty Stack and James Reel both in the house. Good to see you guys. But today we're not talking about gold in particular, although I should probably mention Mad Stacker says it's a good time to chase the ratio. Trade your silver for gold. That may be a good time. I mean, I think gold keeps going up. I don't know about silver. I think silver does what silver does, up and down all the time. But anyway, speaking of gold and conspiracies, I was talking to my pal Fish today. Everybody knows Fish. And we were talking about, you know, Elon and all the stuff that they've come to light, and how we were looking to get, you know, Trump when he ran. It was like Epstein. We're going to get to the bottom of that as soon as he's in. Everything, all of the corruption, right? The JFK, the this, the that, everything was going to get resolved when Trump got in office. And what ends up happening is we're seeing everything kind of get pushed back. And, you know, Elon's in there literally finding things that I think nobody thought would ever be found. I think people thought they had it hidden, and I think it took a super genius and his genius squad to find stuff. So, with that said, I think they know the information, and I think the information won't get released because too many people are implicated. I think it puts too many people on the chopping block. And so as we're talking about the high price of gold being $32.36 an ounce right now, Fort Knox, everybody was like, hey, let's audit Fort Knox. And then Elon goes one step further and says, hey, let's televise the audit of Fort Knox. And Trump had come out and been like, yeah, let's audit Fort Knox. Let's see if that gold's in there. And then crickets, nothing about Fort Knox. And, you know, it's interesting because I forever have felt like the gold was not in Fort Knox. In fact, I would bet all the little bit I have that we don't have what we claim in Fort Knox. And you can call it a conspiracy if you want. And the realization is, I think, it's not that Trump could not get access to Fort Knox. He's the president of the United States. I think that somebody has probably, either Trump, if he really wanted access, has gotten it. But at this point, Trump knows the deal, right? And if we go blow the doors off of Fort Knox and there's no gold there, or a fraction of the gold that should be there, what's that do for the U.S. economy, right? That crushes us. What's that do to the global mindset of looking at the U.S. as the leader and the reserve currency and all of the yada, 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 if we really have no gold backing us? That definitely causes instability. And I think Trump knows that, and I think that's why we'll never know what's in Fort Knox. Not unless the time comes that Trump's able to fill that back up, and then we can show off all the gold. But see, I went down this rabbit hole before, where we actually have other people's gold, other countries, Germany, numerous other countries, and we've been lending that out and utilizing that, and they get a kickback while we hold their gold, right? Well, Germany was one of the countries that called for their gold back, and we told them we'd give it back in about 6 years. Crazy, right? What does that tell you? That tells me we don't have their gold to just hand them back. So it's one of those things that I think that we talk about conspiracy theories as if there is this hidden agenda or hidden behind the scenes, or these things could be happening. The truth of the matter, probably 90% of all conspiracy theories are true. And most of these we've been seeing get played out, and they do come to fruition. Turns out they are true about the jab and you name it. All of this is coming out. The information that's been hidden is coming out. But I think there's so much more beyond what we can even comprehend. There's so much beyond what we can even grasp. And, where does that come from? What is beyond, right? We talk about conspiracies. We come up with this idea that, there must be these global elites behind the scenes. If you don't believe that there are families that have been on this earth for thousands of years that were strong and connected and wealthy and powerful, if you don't believe those families still exist on earth today, you're delusional. Families don't get that kind of power and wealth just to give it all back, right? That doesn't happen. Places get conquered and this and that, but what do we see that happens with the wealthy, right? They make a deal. They don't get conquered, they make a deal. And in return for their backstabbing whoever or giving up their countries this, what do they get? Wealth, riches, land in other countries, you name it. It's an exponential thing. So there's definitely those people. There are those families out there. I mean, we know the names of some of them, Rothschilds and beyond. We know the names of some of these families, right? And it gets brushed under real quick. Oh, it's a conspiracy. It's not a this. It is a this. These are the countries that own the banks, right? These are the people, not countries, the people that own the financial institutions. Those financial institutions that print money, like our Federal Reserve, they're not run by our government. They're owned by these elitist families, right? This isn't a conspiracy. This is out there. And the greatest conspiracies of all, we don't even know. We can't even wrap our minds around who's working behind the scenes. So we know this stuff happens. Conspiracy theories, they're just critical thinking. If you connect the dots from A to B to C to D, I mean, what are some things you guys have thought was a conspiracy that have come true. I mean, I knew the whole vaccination thing was what it was, and it's coming to fruition. You know, this whole C-19 thing, that was a ploy. That was a generated in a hospital. I mean, that was manufactured to do what it did. Distract the world, take control, do all those things. So now I see people putting stuff up. You know, they're talking about a lot of the hurt that's come from the vaccines we've gotten, and not just the recent ones, the older ones with autism and all of that, that information having been suppressed. You know, until they make those companies accountable for the injuries that get caused, I'm the first to say I believe there is good that come of vaccines. I believe there are immunities and other necessary things. We don't want to deal with measles, red fever, all these weird things. So I think there is good that comes from it. But I also think we should be informed of the risks. And then to blanket mandate everybody has this, I think people should be able to take that risk themselves. And maybe it is a situation of your kid can't go to school. You don't want to get the vaccines, your kid can't go to school. That's fine, but let us know the risks. My daughter, she has not had the most recent vaccine that was mandated. I will make sure she never has it. You know, I've heard of all kinds of fertility rates and trouble getting pregnant happening. I've actually seen there are people looking for non-vaccinated, the most recent mandate, non-19 vaccinated people to meet and have relationships with because they don't want to carry whatever that is that got put in our bodies. And I say "are" because I'm one of the suckers that got the shot because my wife, it almost ended our relationship. And the media and everything else drove that wedge, fully knowing that, hey, people are going to succumb. People are going to give in. I gave in against all wishes. And then I started having heart issues immediately. Now, I'm not the healthiest guy, but I do believe my heart issues are attributed to getting the jab. You know, and my wife has also had issues that I think are also attributed to her getting the jab. So we're speaking from firsthand experience. I wish it never would have happened. Johnny B says he won't date a vax chick. Father Duck, good to see you in here. Yeah, there's a lot of people that won't. And whether, you know, they're saying it's whatever was in that is passing down to the next generation. If you can even procreate. So, you know, these things, they're conspiracy theories till they're not. And I feel like this stuff keeps getting hidden. All the facts keep getting hidden until they slowly start to trickle out and people can realize what's really going on in the world. So, you know, again, I think 90% of conspiracies you hear, they've got truth to them. It's just a matter of time till it gets there. And that sucks because there's a lot of really dark, shady stuff in the world, you know? And I mean, we can get into the Hollywood pedophile androchrome. Look, there's a million rabbit holes that most people would rather not even know about. And that's not a thing. You know, I'm not a dark and gloomy guy. I'm an optimistic guy. I like to see the best in people and the world. And, you know, I've got my kids. I want them to have a fantastic life and world. You know, I'm not going to be around nearly as long, but they've still got 40, 50, 60 years. So, you know, you'd like to see some things get resolved. And it's one of those things where it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you make it better? How do you broach the subject? How do you make a difference? The only thing I can do is talk about it, right? And I don't expect anybody to come on here and be like, oh, pirate, that guy is factual as the day is long. Look, I listen to a lot of stuff. I do my own critical thinking. I connect some dots. I'm right a lot. I'm wrong a lot too. There's plenty I get wrong. But if you're not looking, if you're not thinking, they're not going to feed us the information. We don't get the information just handed to us because all that's getting blocked. And we know the mainstream media is blocking it. Google and all these different search engines are blocking it. Everybody's in cahoots. Who are they paid to do that? Higher than them, right? Whether it's the Rothschilds or the whoever's. This could go on and on and on and on, and it does go on and on. So when I say conspiracy theories, and when I talk about it, or you hear someone else talk about it, it's one of those things that go in with open eyes. There's a little bit of truth in most of what is said. And find out for yourself. Don't just dismiss it and go, oh, that's crazy. That would never happen. That's crazy. You're talking crazy stuff. Nobody's sacrificing children. That's crazy. But you start getting into it and you go, okay, well, the Las Vegas shooting, that police commissioner then went on to become the Maui police commissioner, making a much higher wage than everybody else in all of the state of Hawaii, and also happens to have been there for the Maui fires. And now there's a bunch of kids missing that nobody talks about, but now he's been implicated in the Diddy case as a co-conspirator of smuggling children. Look, these things aren't by chance. There is nothing in the world that is that much of a chance. And if this is the first time you're hearing this stuff, wake up. Like, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. Everywhere. Sick, twisted things are everywhere. So when we go back and we go, how come our government is not making arrests yet? How come they're not putting their foot down? Why don't we have the Epstein files? Why don't we have people going to jail yet? More than likely, they're all intertwined in one big fat mess. And to implicate one will implicate many. And there's good people that will get implicated. So what happens? It gets covered up, forgotten about. They'll give you your pound of flesh. Okay, listen, we can't let the Epstein stuff out. Heck, Epstein's not even dead. Guess what? He didn't even kill himself. He's living on some island somewhere. We can throw conspiracies all day. I think there's a good chance that's true. But beyond all of that, we'll give you your pound of flesh. Let's hang Diddy out with some high-profile entertainers. Let's hang them out. That'll be the pound of flesh we can distract everybody with so that we can keep business as usual. Keep our head down in business as usual. So I don't think we'll ever get to have a Fort Knox audit. I think we know it's not there. If it was there, we'd have had open doors, videos. It would have been on the news. Hey, look at all our gold here in Fort Knox. Check it out. So that stuff's not going to happen. A lot of this stuff is never going to happen. It's frustrating because we know the corruption continues. We know, Schumer, Pelosi, all of them are getting paid. And not just the bad lifelong politicians, the good ones too. If you think that the good politicians have not taken money, I guarantee you it's happened in some form or another. Whether they were young and dumb and they took extra campaign donations, whether somebody lined their pocket at some point to make them part of the club, whatever the case is, there's a reason that this cycle continues. And it does. It just keeps going and going. It never stops. And it's way beyond politics. The conspiracy theories, the power holders on a global stage, all of that stuff, it never stops. Is there such a thing as a good politician? SGT Stacking asks. I mean, politically, they were supposed to just be representatives. Now we go back to, why will we never have term limits? Because of corruption. There's too much at stake. You can get bought and paid for by a big company. They're never going to let you have term limits, because then they have to buy and pay the next guy. And they have to keep going through the process. Why go through it if we can just buy and pay the one guy and then blackmail him if we have to? So, conspiracy theories, keep your eyes open, listen up, see what's out there. You might think I'm crazy, and I know I talk with my pal Fish and other people, and they're like, everything's a conspiracy with you. You know what? There's a lot I don't talk about that I believe is true. I only share the stuff that is most obvious, but there's a lot of stuff I don't talk about because what's the point, right? Where's it going to go? I look crazy. It goes nowhere. But I'll tell you this, I'm happy to be prepping. I think the rug can be pulled out from under us at any point in time. So make sure that you are appreciative of your Second Amendment rights. Make sure that you are appreciative of the ability to stockpile food, get food storage ahead. Do those things. Use that. And, keep your head down and stay out of trouble. But conspiracy theories tend to come true more often than not. Thank you guys for watching. Tell me what you think. Tell me some of your conspiracy theories I haven't heard. Maybe I'll bring it up and talk about it on the show next week. I'm headed out to the garden exhibit tomorrow, Orange County Convention Center. My wife and I, that's always a good time. It's free if you go down there. It's a fun day out. I did get some mango trees. I got 2 mango trees there in the yard. One of them I bought with Goldbacks, Florida Goldbacks. They are an accepted dealer. That's awesome. So we got great things happening. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Pirate out. Arg.